Bez, thanks for doing this, mate. We know the stories, but I just wanted to get your a couple of answers on stuff surrounding the entertainers. How did your move to Newcastle come about, first and foremost?
Yeah, I mean, it's a strange one. Originally, I'd been tapped up by Liverpool. Souness had said, "Look, do you want to come and join Liverpool?" And I was like, I was floating on air, thinking I'm going to join, one of the biggest clubs there is. I went over to Liverpool with my dad. I didn't have an agent, and it was just one of them. I'm thinking, this can't get any better. But what transpired was that I did my medical, and you just get a sixth sense. It's something not quite right. Graham Souness finishes up, coming up to me, says, "We've got a bit of a problem." I was like, "What?" He says, "We've just, we've x-rayed your ankles," and he says, "and one of them's not set properly. So have you ever fractured it?" And I went, "Yeah. I did it at Barnsley," and as you can guess, we didn't have specialists at Barnsley. It was I remember fracturing it. I was just sent to Northern General, and they stuck it in part, but they didn't line it up properly. And I was like, I'm distraught. I'm sort of like, this can't happen. I'm begging Souness to sort of like, "Look, can we make it work?" And he just says, "Look, I've got a problem with the board. They won't sign anyone unless they're 100%. Deals off." I now phone Jim Smith, manager at Portsmouth. I explain what's happened. He's kicking off, saying it's a joke. You've played loads of games since then. I went, "Well, you might think it's a joke, but it's deals off." And he says, "Don't worry, Bez, there's somebody else wants you." And I was like, "Yeah, go on." He went, "Kevin Keegan at Newcastle." And as you know, Stevie, KK had just taken over, but I played against Newcastle that year, and they weren't great. They weren't a good team. But Kevin Keegan was, he was a boyhood hero of mine, and I was like, and he just went, "Look, just give Kevin a call." And I made this call. I phoned him up, and he was like, "Right, hey John, it's fantastic. Thanks for calling me. Get yourself up here, come and sign for me." And I'm like, whoa. And he just went, I said to him, "Do you realise I've just failed a medical at Liverpool?" And he just started laughing. He says, "Don't worry." He says, "I've just signed Paul Bracewell, your piss hours." And I was like, I was like, "What's going on here?" And he just said, "Look," he says, "Where are you?" I was at Birch Services at the time. He says, "Get yourself up here." I met him at Gosforth Park Hotel, him and Terry Mike. And it just blew me away. He was like, "We're going to get promoted this year. We're going to get in Europe next year. I'll get you in the England squad." And you think he's just, bullshitting. You think it's just, it's just waffled, trying on his eye. But within them two seasons, it's exactly what he said had happened. We got promoted that year. Everyone said there's no way they'll be able to play the way Keegan wants to play in the Premiership. They'll get found out. We finished third, got in Europe. I got in the England squad, and he reminded me of it. And you look back, and it's just, you look at the modern day game now. Any team that gets promoted from the Championship, they're just banging on for dear life. We got into the Premier League, and we were like, right, we're going for the throat. It weren't like we're coming here just to stay in the league. We went here to compete with the likes of Man United, Liverpool, Arsenal at the time. And he was no disrespect, but Keegan was a genius. He probably only had one way of playing, but it weren't bad.
You fell out infamously with Kevin that game, but just tell us about that, Bez, that incident and what happened afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, it was a strange one because, as I said, Kevin played particularly one way, and he never really used to complicate it. He never used to say much different to me to any other guy. He just said to me, "Come play, do what you're good at." And then he just asked me this against Villa. He just said, "Look, I want you to play a bit different today." He said, "Can you tuck in a little bit more?" He says, "Because they had, I think it was Dwight York, Tommy Johnson, Milosevic," and he was like, "Just tuck in and help Philippe Albert, with his pace." They were very quick up front, and I says, "Yeah, no problem." But as he's telling me this, I went. He went to walk away, and I went, "Gaffer, you do realise we've got another problem then, though?" And he went, "What?" He went, "I said, if I'm going to be tucked right in," I says, "I know Gary Charles, he's the wing back for Villa." I says, he won't want to defend against Ginola. I said, he'll just bomb on." And the gaffer just went to me, he says, "Oh, don't worry." He said, "I'm going to have a word with David to come back a little bit." And I'm like, I'm same as you. I'm like, come on, Gaffer. It's never going to happen. I'm laughing as well. And he's gone. But when Kevin's in his little world, he went, do as you're told. And when you get that, do as you're told, that's it. That's end of conversation. So anyhow, I did what I was expected to do. And I always remember, so I've tucked in. They get an early chance. It gets knocked over my head. Gary Charles was whipping it in. David's just on the halfway line, fucking looking good. And I'm like, when it was just weird, it was like, it's live on Sky, tensions are running high, emotions are. But Kevin Keegan came to the technical area, and I can remember it as clear as I'm talking to you now. And he's turned and he started having a go at me. And he's going, Bez. And I lost it. I just turned and I said, I fucking told you he won't come back. And the thing of it is, everyone knows, you cannot swear at Kevin. He's the gaffer, you cannot. And I'm thinking, 50,000 people, he won't have heard me. And then all of a sudden, as the game's going on, I'm looking at the bench and I can see, Derek Wright, our physio, rummaging round, and I'm thinking, shit, I think he's looking for the numbers for get subbed.
Yeah.
And then I saw Robbie Elliott warming up, and I'm thinking, oh no, he's heard me. So anyhow, I'm running around like a blue horse fly trying to do something, but I'm kind of thinking, nah, he can't do it. This is embarrassing. If he subs me now, live on Sky, it's only about 15 minutes gone, and I'm thinking he won't do it. And then anyhow, I just saw Bogue's out of play, number 3 gets popped up, and I lost it. And I'm raging. So as I walked past, I remember shaking Robbie Elliott's hands. Me and Robbie always got on great. And the gaffer's just looking at the pitch. He doesn't even look at me, and I just turned and I went, shit decision. But when you say it, and I've gone, oh no, that's me finished. That's me finished at the club. Anyway, but the funny thing when I look back, I'm walking to the bench and I can see all the lads. Usually when you come off, lads will give you eye contact and say, oh, well done, Bez, or whatever. All the lads just blank me because they're not getting involved with me because it's like, you're in trouble, mate. We don't want any part of it. And then as the game went on, I've calmed down. And then I'm sort of going, oh no, what do I do? And then Arthur Cox's mentors stood at the side of the dugout, and I just went to Arthur. I went, what should I do? I says, Arthur, I've got a problem. And he went, you better hope and pray we win, son. And I was like, yeah, I know. And he went, right, we won 1-0, Les scores. And then I went to see Arthur again. I says, what do I do? And then I went, and he says, get in, go and see the gaffer. He says, I'm going to apologise. He says, if need be, beg. He said, he says, come make sure you sort it out now. And I went in to see the gaffer, and I knocked on his door, went in, and I was like, hi, gaffer, I've come to apologise. And I literally off saying, look, I've come to beg for forgiveness. I've made a big mistake. It won't happen again. And he went, don't be stupid. He went, don't be silly. He says, I've been in that position before, Bez. He said, I understand what it's like. Tensions are running high, and he says, and that emotions, he says, and in my head, I'm thinking, that's fucking brilliant, that's what a manager, fucking didn't play me for a month, fucking never spoke to me for a month, and still to this day, it always reminds me, and he'll go, watch your language. So it's still, and I understand it. It was one of those. I think it was a situation where if he lets me get away with it, it's a free for all for everybody else to scream back. But yeah, that was one of the gaffer's biggest taboos. But I was one of them who actually crossed the gaffer and still saw him out, because if you upset him and you got on the wrong side of him, he didn't suffer fools, you were gone. So, but it weren't one of the best decisions I've ever done in my career.
Andy Cole, a key player in the promotion season and in that first season in the Premier League. What was the first time that you heard that he was leaving, and how big a shock was that to you? And what did you make of Kevin going out onto the steps?
Yeah, the thing is, I mean, Coley was very moody. He kept himself to himself. He was quite edgy. And the thing of it is, with Kevin, you always know he was always going to... It was like David Kelly. David Kelly was unbelievable in the promotion season. But if he sees anyone better, he gets them like he did Peter Beardsley. He improves. But you're thinking, Cole is just on fire. He's just blitzing it. So I remember turning up. We hear on the grapevine, it's whisking round that we're going to sell Coley. And you're thinking, everybody's going mental. But me as a player, I'm just thinking, well, he's definitely got a replacement. But nothing had been said yet. We didn't know about Les Ferdinand at that moment in time. So we were kind of, in the back of my mind, I was kind of, he's got someone. And I think everybody were like, when I remember turning up to the club and one of the reporters came to me and said, and I think it was Alan Oliver, said, Bez, what about it? Andy Cole, he's going to sell him and that. And everybody was sort of going, to me, just what it did shine out to me, it gave me a real fucking kick up the arse as well, because I'm thinking, if the gaffer is prepared to let Andy Cole go, he ain't going to fucking think twice about selling me.
Yeah.
Because, and it's all about, and I knew it's all about, if you're good for this team, fantastic. And he'll praise you. Don't get me looked after Coley ridiculously, but if he thinks right, what's the next step to move Newcastle United forward, and you're part of that deal, that's what hit me more than anything. I thought it was brilliant as well. It's something so simplistic just to go out and talk to fans. You don't have to do that. The modern day manager would never do that. But I just think that's what Kevin's like, and I think it went a long way. And he just went, believe in me. And as you say, you look back, it weren't a bad signing, was it? Signing Les Ferdinand.
The $1 million question everybody asks about 95, 96 is why didn't we win the league? Lots of people have different theories. Yeah. As we're putting this together for the book, I'd actually forgotten Derek Fazackley left, to go back to Blackburn that season, and that's another one to add to the theories, because obviously Derek was coaching the team, wasn't he? So is there a reason, or were Man United just too good, Bez?
The point of it is there is no one reason. It's easy to put your finger on if it was, and it would shine out. But it was a culmination of so many things, that would have had a little bit of an effect, but it was exactly. But it was like little bits, we didn't have enough experience in the team from such as Kevin Keegan taking over. It was literally, 2-3 years, and you can't now in Manchester United.
Yeah.
So the experience wasn't there, and that's from the players, but also from the manager and the staff. Then there's a little thing which used to do my head in, is when you're a footballer, you like routine. You kind of go train Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You know exactly what you're going to do. You know which day off you're going to get. You know what kind of session you're going to have, and you kick off at 3:00 on a Saturday. Now we did that majority of the time right up to January. But everybody now wants to see Newcastle United play. We're like, we're the team. It's like entertainers, blah, 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 and everything else. So what happens is Sky just go in, we need them. So now they want Sunday, Monday, because we're the team to beat. And it puts even more pressure on you. And I've seen it. If you go back now in the last 20 odd years, you'll see it. Teams that are ahead at January, February, and then all of a sudden, because they're top of the league, Sky start messing around with their sort of fixture list, and it cocks you up. And people might just go, oh, it must be easy just to play on a Sunday. And it's just people like routines. You eat at a certain time, you train to a certain level, and it's just, when I look back, don't get me wrong, we were devastated, and but my biggest sort of regret, or my biggest sort of bugbear, was not losing the title that year, or coming second again the following year, because Kevin, the pissed off thing for me was Kevin shouldn't have fallen out with the board. He should have stayed. Yeah. And if he'd have stayed another 2-3 years, the club would have gone on to another level. And the fallout he had with the club sort of still doesn't sit right with me. I just, I can't have it. He had a group of players that were just ridiculously good, and they'd do anything for him. And I think that's what hurts more than losing the title. It was what should have kicked on after more than anything. And don't get me wrong.
Yeah, go on.
Don't get me wrong. Man United weren't bad.
Last question, Bez. Thanks for your time. What is the favourite game that you played in for Kevin Keegan?
Do you know? I think there was. I mean, he's 1,000,001. But do you know? It was when we got promoted. It was the first year, and he promised me, like we're going to get promoted this year and everything else. And it honestly. We're playing Leicester last game of the season, and it'll stay with me forever. And the gaffer's like going, look, I know you're promoted, but we want to win it in style and all this type of thing. And Leicester were a decent team, and he just went, right, I want you to go out and express yourself. And he went, and he came to me before that game, and he just went. He says, I told you this was going to happen, didn't I? And I was like, yeah. He went, he says, now go out and enjoy. And I remember at half time, it was 6-0 up. And I'm like going, this, you actually go, this is special. This is when I knew it was, we had something ridiculously good at Newcastle United. And he said at half time, he just went, he says, he's like laughing, Keegan's laughing. You'd think it was like a Sunday football team. He's going, come on, boys. I've got to put a sub on, but I don't know to change because you're all playing so well. Does anybody want to give somebody another chance, to go and enjoy it? And that's what it was like. And I just went, Gaffer, I'll come off. And I came off for Mark Robinson. And it was like a Sunday league where I go, yeah, you have a go now. But the reason why I came off is because I'm thinking he can't be the same next second half, and I just wanted to sit and take it all in. Mm-hmm. And I just remember sat, like on the bench, and I think we did. Lindisfarne had been playing before the game, and the crowd were bouncing, and that was staying with me. I've got a little room at my house, and there's an artist's impression of the game. It's a little bit like a Lowry kind of thing, mm-hmm. And I've got that, and it just when you walk past it, you go, I like that, and it does, and that's one of I think that was the defining moment for me when I thought, yeah, I've done well, I've made a good decision here, even though I got blown out of Liverpool.
John, absolutely brilliant, mate. Thanks for your time.